Hey everyone, today I have Lori here in the studio with me. Lori is an amazing engineer. She's a recent grad from San Diego State, right?
Yes.
And she's very passionate about modding old phone mics and working with old equipment, right?
Yes, 100%.
What would you add to your introduction?
I guess I'm always working in a DIY mindset, and I just love incorporating old like analog things or technology into my process, and that is the flavor that I bring to recording and mixing and producing. And yeah, I love having fun in that way, recording.
Nice. Yeah. So Lori's brought some props today, right? Some phones, some phone microphones that are modded in slightly different ways. And so we're going to talk about all that. We're going to talk about the process of that. We're going to talk about recording. It's going to be a ton of fun. All right. So how about we start by talking about how you got into this? What dragged you into all this?
I think I was just on YouTube, and I honestly don't remember how I got there, but I was just watching a lot of videos and like DIY. And it could have been on Instagram where I saw like people doing recording hacks. And then Sylvia Massey popped up too.
Yes.
I don't know if she's the one that started it, but when I met her and I showed her my phone mic, it made her really happy because she said that her dad taught her how to do it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if she was the start of it, but I do want to acknowledge that she had her hand in it.
I think she's one of the well-known people for doing that kind of thing.
And she's still doing all kinds of really cool recording techniques that like using a drill to add harmonics in a guitar recording. But anyways,
or the pickle one. Have you seen the pickle
I
one?
haven't seen it, but I heard her talk about it.
So,
so I love her.
Yeah, she's amazing.
And I'm seeing this in the content that I'm consuming on Instagram or whatever, TikTok, YouTube, of people modding phones and using it in their recording process. And I was just like, that sounds really fun. I want to do it. How do I do it? And so I went to the tech shop at SDSU, and I don't even know how I stumbled upon a bucket of old phones. They literally had, because they don't use them anymore, especially nowadays, and it's a campus. So the tech shop, he had this bucket of like old phones, but at that point I had already Amazoned a phone, just like a normal like push what do you call it, handset phone. He's like, return it. He's like, I got a whole bucket of them from
I got a collection for you.
And I'm like, well, I don't want to return it because I want to like first see how I can do it, and then if I mess up with it, then I'm gonna take all of your other phones that you got.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to solder, but I always knew that they were always soldering in the tech shop because it's the tech shop. They repair, and they make cables, they repair stuff. So I had asked, his name's Tim, he works in the tech shop, and I asked him, like, oh, could you show me how to solder? I had already watched a lot of videos on how to do it, but I didn't own yet soldering equipment, and the tech shop has it all. So I just like walked in there, asked, and he showed me how to do it. And at that point I was using what a lot of people tend to do is an XLR cable, and to put it in the phone, and so it goes out through the Ethernet port.
It's like you push the cable through, right?
Yeah.
Through the hole.
So that was the first way I made it, and how I was thinking about making it, which was kind of harder because there's 3 wires in the XLR, and then we had to test which one was like ground, which one was pin 1, pin 2, and then chop off one of them and then solder it. So that was my introduction to it, and it just was a lot to take in, and it was really tricky, and I didn't like the look of it either. I don't like a dangling cable, XLR especially, to the phone, and I felt like that was very limited. Like, what if I wanted it to be like 50 feet? I mean, I don't want it to be 50 feet.
Yeah, if you want to swap out the cable or something.
Yeah, if I want to swap out the cable. But that's basically how I started, is just seeing it on my feed. I'm like, wow, I want to do that. How can I do that? I'm going to do that. Ordering it off Amazon, and then walking onto the tech shop at school, and then just asking, getting shown, like being taught how to do it by humans.
And they taught you how to solder and everything, right?
Yeah. And then from there,
awesome.
I like saw what they had in the tech shop, and I took note of it, and then I ordered my own kit. I got it, and then from there I didn't need to go to campus to make those, but I did take the rest of the phones that they had.
Yeah.
And
You just rated it.
oh yeah, I was like, give me
I'll
all
take
like
this.
your office phones that you don't use, please. Just
Yeah.
I'm that weird person. I was that weird person on campus, just like asking for old
Perfect.
discarded stuff.
Yeah.
But
It's because you're tinkering. That's good.
yeah. I like to tinker.
Yeah.
But that's how it kind of started. It was a long story short.
Yeah.
But long story. Yeah.
Nice. Do you have that phone here today, or?
I don't have the exact phone, but it basically looked like this. It's just a handset. When you think of a phone, like an old phone, this is what comes to mind.
And that's the kind where you can screw this off, right?
Yeah, so this is basically what it looked like, the handset or the telephone. And I really recommend if anyone wants to start their DIY project to get a phone that's like this, because it's really hard to disassemble, take apart. It's really accessible. You just unscrew.
Yeah, that's super quick.
Yeah, you unscrew it. But what does change, each of these, even though they all look the same, the mic might look different, the wiring might look different. Sometimes these are like actually soldered into place. So if you want to take apart the wires, you have to unsolder it. But this one, I like that you can unscrew it.
Yeah.
Not all of them look like this, but it's really, really easy to take apart. And so basically, to make it, one way to do it is to use the speaker. This is actually the speaker part of the phone. And as you can see, I think I used the original. Yeah, I used the original wires that came with this. And I just soldered it to a 1/4-inch connector. And it's basically as easy as that. And I didn't have to drill anything. This fits perfectly through the Ethernet port.
Oh, that's so cool.
It may not be like as pretty looking.
Yeah, it's like a slightly different shape, right? But
it fits. I
That's
do
so
not have to
cool.
drill, which is why I love using this. And I would recommend to other people if they want to start is to get a phone like this, because you don't have to drill anything. You just have to unscrew it, and then just at most you might need more cables. Maybe they may be too short, because I have seen other phones where they're like connected to here to like a board or something, and then the other end of that. So yeah, each phone is interesting, which keeps it really fun and interesting when you make these, because it's never the same. There's some variation in the phone that's different, but this is basically what the first one looked like. The sounds, the screwing,
Nice.
ASMR.
Yeah, right.
Sound design. But yeah, this is what it looked like.
That's really cool. So you have a bunch of other phones, right?
Yes, I brought more with me.
And so they're all a little different, right? The process for adapting them. We were just talking about that. So what are some of the differences? Are there some examples of that?
Yeah, so this is an older phone. I don't know. I can't like tell what decade it's from, but I think the phone that I have right now is probably from the 80s. Maybe a little bit earlier than that, or later than that. And I love that.
I remember phones like this when I was really little.
Yeah, the phones for me growing up that I remember are probably the 2000s looking ones, where it already had the buttons on the
on the actual thing you hold.
Yeah, the handset. Yeah. That's what I remember growing up with. But I didn't get to see. This is I'm sad, but this one's different because I actually used the original cable that came with the phone, and the wires were thick enough for me to actually do this. And I eventually want to do a telephone mic shootout to see how the difference in cabling and wiring affects the phone.
It probably does.
Yeah, because I have noticed when I use my different phone mics that I maybe have to add more or less gain to others, or some of them are more noisy than others. Or I don't know if it's just like if I get lucky in how I record it, if I'm just like positioned right. Because I like to record my vocals a lot on it. I don't know if it's because, I'm positioned just right. I'm exerting much like
they're all
belting
subtle
or whatever.
differences.
Or I have experimented where I put it through my mixer and then I gain it up and then maybe EQ it and like just tinkering with that. And then from my mixer, the output from that. But then the output from that is probably emitting. Also, it is emitting noise from the mixer. The way how I record everything is very DIY, maybe not recommended. It's just like
that's where the fun happens, though. Sometimes.
Yeah, like if it works, it works.
Yeah.
For me, you know, it's my process. But it's just at least me being aware that adding my mixer is gonna add also noise to it. And then,
what you do there is gonna affect it.
Yeah. But I really, really will want. I am going to do a mic shootout, but to test the difference in these phones. But
you're gonna have to find like 2 of the same handset, huh?
I know.
Yeah.
And it's
is there like a place where you tend to source them besides SDSU?
So it's funny, when I used to work on campus, I used to work at the Backdoor Studio. Yes. It's a studio on campus, and you've seen it.
I've seen it, yeah.
And the tech person, what do you call it? No, the IT person that used to work for Associated Students, he was down in the studio doing, updating our computers. And I don't know how I started talking to him about it, but I eventually started talking about phone mics.
Yeah.
And he is also very analog enthusiast heavy. And he is always thrifting and I'm always thrifting. And he ended up getting this one for me. He's like, I found this phone. You will definitely have more use for it than I will. And so he found it at a random thrift store. So it just really depends. It could be a hit or miss. I'm always thrifting. It's probably a problem. I can't help
There are
myself.
worse problems to have.
It's like not it could be expensive.
Yeah.
It depends where I go. Like if it's a vintage shop.
Yeah. Some of them get kind of.
I hate going to vintage stores or like antique stores, I mean, for
like
technology.
Consignment, right?
Yeah. I mean, I love it. But when it's to look for phones, they're so expensive. All these consignment and antique stores price them like at most 60. Or 40 is like the baseline when I see it in consignments. Wow. And the older the phones are, they're like 80 to 100. So
how much were they originally?
I don't know. I probably have to look it up, find like an old ad.
But
I don't think they were that expensive at the time.
I don't think so.
But
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Are they like really cute ones that they find?
Yeah, like they're intact and they look clean. Like the owner has clearly taken care of the phone. So I could see why, like, okay, well, it's in good condition. It's not like rusted and dusty and gross. And the thing about that too is like you could see all kinds of different phones and I want to collect basically all these different weird phones that I've seen. But I'll eventually get there because I in no way am paying more than $40 for a phone like this when I could in theory just Amazon it. But that was how I got the first one. I got it off Amazon. The second time I got lucky that the school or SDSU was just getting rid of all their old phones that they clearly they have no use for them anymore.
Yeah, they've just been piling up.
And other times I'm constantly on Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, what's the other one? OfferUp, just these sites where people are just selling their stuff secondhand. And I have gotten lucky where this guy was getting rid of 2 phones that were like this shape. And I think I got it for like $20. So it's like $10. That's what I like getting it for is $10 a piece because that's affordable, that's reasonable.
Yeah, that makes more sense to me.
But yeah, that's how I source it. It's rarely me going to the actual thrift store and finding it. I have gotten it once, and it's for the Rotary ones. Okay. Because the Rotary dials are harder to find. Yeah. And people do price that high too on secondhand sites. They know that it's antique looking and that it's rare to find.
Especially if it's working, right?
Yeah, and by working, like, do you mean like hooking it up and like actually dialing a phone? Or
no, just like would be able to function.
Yeah, for like
if you were to
tinker it.
Yeah.
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 So I'm just like constantly thrifting and on the sites looking and typing in all kinds of search words. Yeah. And that's how I find a lot of these. Why did I get this one?
You know what though? Because we mentioned thrifting.
Yeah.
Can I show you something?
Please.
So my friend Avin got this for me at a thrift shop, and it looks like a shoe. It looks like a shoe. But you'll notice there's a cable coming out of it.
Yes.
And that's because it's a shoe phone.
I love it.
Isn't it great?
Yes.
What would I have to do to make this? Because it has the phone. What is this? Like a cat something cable? Cat 5, cat 4.
Since my experience, because I have tried to make phone mics out of using the what do you even call this cable?
I forget.
Like
I probably got it wrong just now.
Yeah, I don't know. And I've been calling it like the Ethernet port. I don't know if that's how you call it either.
Yeah.
Well, this telephone cord, the original telephone, these
these beautiful creatures that get tangled so easily
are really hard to make. Like as an actual audio cable. And I have seen people do it. There are videos out there where you can do it, but these are just so thin though, so thin, and it's just hard to get the solder on it. Well, you can do it. It's just attaching it to the connector and having it not break off, because it has happened to me where it just snaps off because it's just like the weight of the solder and then the connector, and if I accidentally pull on it, it just snaps off.
It's just a delicate baby.
Yeah, so we could try to getting some wire cutters and like seeing the cables, but I just know off the bat that this is going to be hard to do with the original cable.
Yeah. So
what you could do is do an XL, maybe attach an XLR or attach a 1/4-inch cable, or to drill a bigger hole and do a 1/4-inch connector.
Okay.
It's basically up to you and your preference, or how you want to store this beautiful leather Oxford shoe phone mic
what this
moment.
Is, an Oxford shoe?
I think you would call it an Oxford shoe. I'm wearing a Doc Martin shoe version of it.
Nice. Yeah, it does look similar.
I think these are called like
that's pretty cool.
I think it's almost my size too.
Yeah. I wonder if it's my size.
It's like a half size, but oh my god.
It might be my size.
You could wear it.
Evan got me a shoe that I could wear.
Yeah.
That's so sweet of her.
Wait, what if you record like you walking in the shoe or like stomp? No.
Have you seen the what is it? Hyphana?
No.
I think it was Hyphana. They did like a Nike ad, but what they did is they put MIDI triggers in the shoe, and then when you bend the shoe, so like when this gets like stepped on or when the toe bends, it connects and it makes the sound.
That is so cool.
And then they had like a table full of the shoes, and they were like triggering, and they did like a whole song. It's so much fun. I'll put like a link.
Yeah, I need to see that. That's cool.
I'll send you a link.
That's crazy.
I'll probably put it in the description too. So
yeah, it's up to you how you want to store this mic.
Store it. Wait, why is it?
Or like, if you don't mind, because for me, I don't like mics with cable. Well, it's not mics. I don't like making my phone mics with the cable attached like that. It's just so harder for me to store in my space. Oh,
I see. Yeah.
And I just get really like
You'd rather
technical.
have the jack so you can just
so then I could just coil my cable, hang it, or store the cable separately. But I mean,
I do like that kind of thing.
It's basically up to you, or how like ADHD you want to be about it, like how your workflow. If you don't care about having a cable, great, you can do a cable, and then you probably don't have to drill a hole in the shoe. But if you want to add that 1/4-inch connector, you can, or an XLR connector.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Depends on how you want to do things, because that's the thing too. I like using 1/4-inch, but then if you're in a studio, like, well, how are you gonna record that?
Plug in.
Yeah, in the live room. And the way my work around that is to just get a DI box. And in theory, before,
what level does it come out at?
Okay, so
is it coming through at instrument level?
See, I thought that using a DI would improve the sound quality, but because the gain, I don't know if it's instrument level really, but I know it's unbalanced technically. Yeah. Because I'm not using like three, I'm not ground, it doesn't have ground in it.
And you think about like an instrument, like a guitar instrument cable, right? It's got two, so it's just the TS, and it's not, it's unbalanced.
It's an unbalanced, because I've had conversations with trolls online about whether or not this phone mic is balanced or unbalanced.
Doesn't it depend on the mic?
I think. I'm not too well versed.
I remember looking this up at some point.
I know, because I asked you, because I felt like I was being gaslit too. I was just like, either way, I use a 1/4-inch connector, and the cable, this one is unbalanced. It's just TS. And so if I'm in a studio, which I was in a studio, I can't connect this to what do you call it? Well,
like a preamp.
Yeah,
or
the
something.
preamp, it's too far. So my only workaround on that was to use a DI, and I know the DIs make it mic output level.
Yeah.
And it also is pushing or bringing down that level, which kind of works against the phone mic. The only good thing about that too is that it takes away the noise, because each phone mic is noisy. But then again, since the DI is bringing that level down, then I need to add more gain.
Right.
So it's just like...
You bring it down to bring it back up.
Yeah.
But that's what you do when you plug an instrument in, too.
That's true.
So...
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, but...
And isn't it like with this kind of mic, you kind of want that noise, right? Like that's kind of part of what you're going for is a character.
That's the quality, the look, the lo-fi. You're not using a phone mic to get U87 or you're
not getting that super shimmery.
Yeah, going into it that it's not going to sound high quality. It's going to sound low,
and that's the point.
Lo-fi. Yeah, that is the whole point of it. But using the DI box, you can use it to add color. You can use it to however it adds to your workflow. But for me, in an efficient way in a recording studio, how am I going to get this to the control room, to the board? I just use the DI box and then XLR connecting it to the, what do you call it? I don't know, the wall of like...
To the preamp? To the snake.
There you go. I'm like, why can't I words?
Yeah.
Connecting it to the snake.
It's morning.
Yeah. So that's how I use it in a recording studio sense. But
cool. And it sounds good?
It sounds fine. It sounds how you expect it to sound like. And typically, since I record myself a lot, if I do attach a cable to it, it doesn't need to be that long. But if you want to add the cable to the phone mic, since I record myself a lot, I just make it long enough so that it reaches my desk and my interface, and that's that. But there has been times where I bring it to a recording studio, and which is why I like this technique better. It's just doing a 1/4-inch connector. But then I still need a DI. Well, it's just easier to transport. Bring it into the studio.
There's something like very satisfying and clean about this kind of
I
don't know.
It's preference.
Just wanted to touch it. That's why.
Go for it.
That's cool.
But yeah, to bring it back to the shoe.
Yes.
Preference and how you want to go. But do you have any ideas on how you want to go about it?
No, I don't. I don't know if I have a preference. I feel like it would just be fun to get some sound out of this and into my computer in whatever way works.
Yeah.
So
I think the first step for you then would
just to be like, hey, do you want to do this?
or that could be, I would love to see this shoe and make it sound.
Make it make noise.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think the first step, if whoever is handling the shoe, is to see how it's wired up.
Yeah.
And how
I think you can take the lining out of it.
The sole out of the shoe.
Oh, so you can kind of see some stuff in there.
That is so funny.
I'll get some video later to put on the screen.
Okay.
It's
I don't know.
Yeah.
For your sake, I'm
be
just
cautious.
doing it this way.
There's probably something dangerous in there that you don't want to breathe.
Oh,
like
you're right.
particles.
Yeah.
There's probably.
Well, right off the bat, looking on the inside of the sole and sole of the shoe, I could see it's really easy to either take apart the wiring, and it'll probably just get a longer. I still don't see how it's connected to the other.
Yeah, because that's hard to see into.
Because this would actually be was this the speaker or the mic? Where's the...
It looks like.
Oh, I think this is the mic. Yeah,
and that's the speaker, right? Because that's what.
Yeah.
Because the numbers are up, right?
And you could make it a stereo, but I haven't really used the actual mic end of phones, because I think that way you have to
bring a battery into it.
You have to bring a battery because it needs the voltage.
Yeah.
And you could tell when you take apart
it's
the
like
phones,
instead of sending phantom power, right?
Yeah.
You put the battery in.
Yeah, and you could see it's different. Like they're they're wired up differently
Yeah.
than the dynamic end of the phone, which is a speaker, which is why it's so much easier to just use a speaker because it's dynamic. It doesn't need added voltage.
Power, yeah.
And it's easier to take apart. So you could use both or not, or just use the speaker end, which is probably easier. And just maybe if the cable is long enough to reach here, again, I don't know how this is wired up. It's probably like wired up to here and then from here to there.
Because it looks like there's a circuit board in this middle part of the shoe.
Yeah. So it'll look like it'll be easy to
make happen.
And since there's already a hole here, I'd probably just use this existing end of the toe end of the shoe.
I don't mind making the hole bigger too.
Yeah. Oh, and we have to see too if a 1/4-inch connector will actually like sit well within the shoe. It looks like it will. But it's just like it's tinkering until you find out what works.
Yeah.
And see.
Yeah. Cool.
Or unless you have like an actual coiled 1/4-inch cable.
No, I don't think so. You can get them though.
I got lucky.
Oh, you have this one. Of course you can get them.
I don't want to reveal how I got this one.
Oh.
But I stole it.
Oh, no.
No one was using it. It was just there sitting for years.
What was it attached to something or was it loose?
No, it was loose.
Okay.
I just don't want to reveal where I stole it from for obvious reasons. It wasn't like a store. Like I didn't
I wouldn't expect you to do that. It was someone who wasn't using it.
Yeah, like it's literally was sitting there for years and like no one ever.
Was it a studio? Now I'm playing 20 questions.
You could say that. But it wasn't like I'm not gonna shoot myself in the foot and like ruin my chances of working in the studio. It technically was not a studio.
Yeah. We can cut that out too.
It was. I happened to find this cable, and I have not been able to.
It was at your grandma's house.
Yes, it was just this cable that I found. No one was using it, and I ended up bringing it a second life.
Yeah.
But I have not been able to find a cable like this. I mean, you can find it. You can Amazon it. But they're so expensive.
I think I've seen these on Amazon.
I'll probably just do that. I'll probably just Amazon. Because I love the look of actually. So if I do want to add the cable to the phone, it has to be coiled. Because
it feels right.
It'll keep the look of the phone.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just they're so expensive on Amazon. I don't know why. I don't know if I'm searching it wrong. I don't know if there's like a keyword to search it. I always search up coiled or 1/4-inch cable, and they're like $20, $40. I'm like, I don't want to spend that much on the cable unless I'm not searching it right. There's a will, there's a way.
We can explore, and if anyone figures it out, then they should tell us.
Set this shoe down.
Here, I can put this back where it belongs. Underneath.
This one, I did thrift.
Yeah.
I did find it for probably like $6.
Nice.
And it was super hard to take apart. Like I said, every phone is different.
Oh, I have one of those.
They're super hard.
This is mine that I've been trying to take apart. And I'm sorry I interrupted you.
Oh, no. Go on.
Okay, I'll say my thing quick. Okay. So this is mine that I've been trying to take apart. And you can see on it that there's like marks and you can feel them. It's like really rough because I've been trying to like open it at the seam. And I've just been like, when I'm in a Zoom, I'll just sit there and try to pry it open the whole time when I'm talking to people. And I have not been successful yet. So if you have any tips.
You could even see on this one that it's not fully put back into place.
Yeah,
because of how I try to pry it
in the middle.
Yeah, I mean I can hold it up, but it's just, and you have to be careful too if there's like hidden screws holding it into place. But not with these. Like I would say these are probably like 2000s around that time, and you'll see a lot of this like office type of like look, and they're not easy to take apart. And I know for good reason. Like who the hell?
They weren't meant to be.
They're not. Yeah, they're not. They're just manufactured.
They snapped them together.
Yeah, and. So I don't recommend as your first phone to get one like this. But if you find one for $5, go for it.
Yeah.
And
it's more of a challenge.
Yeah. And if you have the patience or the strength or the wit to figure out how to take this apart.
I don't have the way. I've just been trying to brute force this one.
I don't know if there's a smarter way to do this. Probably somebody knows, but I just like grabbed a flathead screwdriver and I was just like,
that's what I've been trying.
I was just like putting in all of my
oh my gosh,
frustration. I popped it open.
Yeah.
And then what made this even more harder is because it was coiled, I couldn't lay it flat in the phone and it had to be flat to close it. So once soldering it onto the speaker was one success.
So there's not like a straight end on that end?
No.
Oh no. I was assuming it had, because this has like a little straight end on this side.
There could have been.
Yeah.
But the amount of times I messed up, I had to keep cutting.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what ended up happening was that it did reach. But then I still had to uncoil.
And then it didn't.
And then like, I don't know if I like gaffed it on there or I don't know what I did, but I got it to close and I like that this one has a special, it still has the price. It says $5.95.
Nice.
$5.95.
That's not bad.
But it's lightweight, so you can transport it.
And you could mount this on your wall.
You can mount it on the wall, yeah.
Beautiful.
And
that's what we had in my house growing up. We had like a wall-mounted one.
How did people mount it on the wall? And it
you would.
Yeah, but the phone's
mount it. Yeah, that one's not staying, huh?
No. Gravity.
Usually they would just hang.
Yeah. I have one where you can mount it.
This one's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I won't talk about that.
They would just hang.
But when I was living in my apartment, I had one like this. It wasn't like this, but you mount it to the wall and it had the buttons on it. It was like an older looking one. And then I put my phone there and I just like, it's a great way to store the phone. You know, and then it's accessible. I can grab it and do a recording. But I just loved it because it still has the receiver, I think is what it's called. And I can just have the cable. But then storing it, I'm like, I don't know how to, however you want to store it. But
put that on a shelf.
I think that was one of the second phones that I got.
Cool. Set mine down.
This one I got recently at, what do you call it? I think it was like a Facebook marketplace. I regret it.
Oh yeah.
It was just so hard to take apart. Again, it's like the one you were showing. These types of phones are not meant. There was a screw.
Yeah.
I found it
that screw
before I like exerted too much force and like broke something.
Yeah.
Unscrewed it. It was a pain in the butt to pry it open. And then the speaker piece fell out. And this was just a pain in the butt. Yeah. And I used the existing phone cable. That was hard. That was difficult because they're not meant to be used as audio cables. And in this way, it's not my best work.
I like the red though.
I like red. I have another red phone. I don't think this is the best sounding one.
What's it sound like compared to the others?
It's just so low.
Okay.
I think you just have to be strategic about it because if you know that you can't really do vocals on this one, then use it for drums. Yeah. Or use it for guitars. Yeah. Anything that's like something loud. Yeah. Just like think about how people use dynamic mics. Yeah. What are they used for? You know, you put an SM57 on a snare. Yeah. You know, typically, or maybe not.
I mean, we do have 2 dynamic mics as our vocals right now.
Yeah. So
from sounds. Ooh,
but
I mean, I have the CloudLifter with them, so.
I guess we could. Oh, but is the CloudLifter?
Can you use a CloudLifter? With them?
Does it have a XLR?
No, but you can maybe go from the DI to the CloudLifter and then into the preamp.
You know what's funny?
Because that would be the same idea, right?
Yeah, I actually at NAMM I did stop by the CloudLifter booth and I showed them my phone mic and I was like, how can I? Yeah, I was just like, I already know the answer to it, but I was just like, oh, so like, how would I use my phone mic in conjunction with the CloudLifter? Yeah, and the guy was so taken aback, but he was like, he was having fun, like explaining it and like coming up with an idea of how I can use it. But
did he suggest? What did he suggest?
I don't remember.
Oh, cool.
But it was a good answer to what he said, and you can use a CloudLifter. Yeah. I forgot why I started talking about CloudLifters.
I don't know. I can grab one though.
I don't remember how I got there.
Oh no, I'm using all. Okay,
wait, hold on. I'm collecting my brain cells. I remember. Oh, okay.
Maybe I'm using all my CloudLifters right now.
So this is...
Oh, yeah. One's in the booth and one's here. And then this is the 50s. Oh, I'm sorry. This is the SM7 DB. So it has it built in.
Oh, nice.
So
I remember. Okay. So this is not my best work. It's not a great phone mic. But it's like any engineer who knows their equipment is like, oh, this mic is warm. This mic is bright.
Yeah.
I know this mic is not great, and I'm gonna need a high level output.
You're gonna say like
source.
warm or bright or something, and you're like, not great. It's not great.
Oh, I'm sorry. My analogy was all over the place. I'm like trying to think about in like output level.
Yeah.
Like obviously you want to use a condenser for like, I don't know, like an intimate recording, or maybe you shy away from, a mic that's gonna emphasize the plosives or the S's. It's like that same train of thought.
Yeah. It's like picking your paintbrush.
Yeah, and I know this mic does not work for vocals.
Okay.
Because if I'm gonna gain it up so that I can hear the vocal well, then it's gonna bring up all the noise that is in this phone. As well as the noise.
Is it like very grainy sounding too compared to the others?
Very, very, very grainy, but you just can't hear, like, it's just so low.
Okay.
And I would have to add a bunch of gain.
Yeah.
And then that's just gonna bring more noise from the preamp and then the phone.
Yeah.
So
I had that issue with a ribbon mic.
Really?
Yeah. So I had a ribbon mic that I got from Sylvia Massey from her, like, when she bought the museum. I think it was from the museum stuff.
Oh.
Anyway, I bought it off Sylvia Massey's site, and when it arrived, it was like that, and it was like really, really, really quiet, and I was like, oh, bummer. And then I emailed them, and they were like, that's not right, and I like sent them a sample, and then they had me send it back, and they repaired it for me, which was really, really cool and really nice of them, because like I don't think they had to do that, because it was one of those things where it's like, oh, as is type of thing, but it said it was working. And then now it's much better. So I wonder if there's something.
It could be
broken, even though that's not even the same type of mic. So in theory, who knows? It could just be.
I suspect, which is why I need to do a telephone mic shootout. It's the cable, or it could be how I soldered it. It could be many things.
Yes.
I think the mic is probably fine, because I have made a bunch of these and they're fine.
Yeah.
But it just
and they should be pretty sturdy as far as mics go, right?
Yeah. I just suspect it's the cable. The connections aren't great. It was very bad soldering, because I was so frustrated and over it, and I had to redo it over and over and over again. I just suspect it's the cable. But we'll see.
Yeah.
But knowing that, I'll probably just put it to an amp to do a electric guitar recording.
Oh, I like that.
Drums. The phone mics in general will excel when you're using it against loud sound sources.
Yeah.
And that could be, however, it doesn't have to be a drum kit, it doesn't have to be a guitar, but basically something that's loud.
Okay.
I want to mic up an orchestra using phone mics.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I haven't gotten there yet. I probably will just come back to SDSU and be like,
hi, please.
Can I just like set these phones here? Great.
That'd be so cool.
I just, because it's unconventional. Like, who thinks you want to record an orchestra? Something that would sound so, beautiful in a, like, room recording. And you just have...
That could be such a vibe, too.
Or, like, when you're on hold and you hear that type of music. It could be, like, phone or elevator music.
Recorded that way.
Yeah. Like, made for.
How would you mix that?
How would I mix it? Well, if I am allowed to go to SDSU,
we're gonna do it now.
Well, you teach there, so
I'm already like thinking of how we can pull that off.
It could be like a class, like
let's just a
lesson.
Yeah. It's an experiment for the class, obviously.
It could also be, if we want to go down that route too. I could talk to the I forget what level class this is, but it's whatever class that teaches them how to use the Neve board in that room, in the control room. Which have you been there?
I don't think so.
Which you will see.
Yeah.
They have done in the past where they literally used every single mic in the locker to mic up an acoustic guitar. Yeah. And in the picture, it was hilarious. There's literally mics all around the room and all around the guy and all around the drum kit. So why not add a phone mic into that mix?
Yeah, for real.
How would I mix it? I I'm trying to think. I don't think I can get away with close miking anything because I don't want to disturb, because it is a class, the orchestra, you know, they have their what do you call it? What do they call those people? Director, conductor. You know, it's students showing up.
Yeah.
And I don't want to interrupt that flow, so it'll have to be like a room mic situation. And this is why I prioritize getting these types of phones, because I can use a normal mic clip, and by normal I mean like how you would clip a 58 or a 57. It fits.
Okay.
It's really
Have you seen the
easy.
ones too where it's like a claw clip?
I have seen people
you could
use
probably
that.
use that with
yeah,
it.
it'll probably be for like this one that's like flat.
Yeah.
Or shapes that are more like.
Or you could just gaff it.
Yeah, there's
gaff it
a
onto
will,
something.
there's a way. You will get it done.
Gaff solves all.
And I'll
All hail gaff.
Yeah, so the orchestra, if they let me do it, if I can get away with it, I would do 4 telephone mics, room mics, overheads. Yeah, just like clip it on there or gaff it on there, however I can secure it into the mic stand. And if they'll let me close mic anything, I would like to do cello and bass section. Ooh, maybe percussion. Maybe I should prioritize that, because percussion is loud, and that would be captured well.
That would be fun.
But I love cello and bass, so
Me too.
if they really let me get away with all that, 4 room mics, cello section, bass section, percussion, and it'll just go. I hope we have enough DIs for that. Into the DIs, into the snake, in the preamps of the board, and since they don't really have, you know, that's all basically what they have. Preamps in the board, and then I could probably take it home and add like some compressors and like I will have to EQ. Yeah, I will have to EQ. But yeah, I'm dying to see how that would sound, like a whole orchestra.
That would be so cool.
Through phone mics. I just talking about it. I really want to make that happen. I want to reach out to whoever's teaching that recording class.
Remind me in the fall, and
I will.
I can try to help. Yeah, that'd be so much fun. That'd be so cool.
That'll be a fun day, fun lesson.
Yeah.
That's how I would do it. And I think you also mentioned too about like taking what you recorded and like maybe bringing it into another studio and using the gear.
Because you could always record it there. Because you were saying they don't have a ton of outboard gear. Yeah. And then you could take it to another studio and then run stuff, whatever you want through after the fact.
Like I could use their outboard gear in another studio, or I could just use my plugins. And I love, it's only because it's the only compressor that I bought is the CLA. I think the CLA 2A compressor.
Yeah.
I love using that. So probably do that.
That's a good one.
I also like using stock plugins. So there's a stock compressor in Ableton, and also I forgot what the one in Pro Tools is, but definitely compress.
Yeah, they have like the Dyne 3. They have a bunch of them now that come with Pro Tools though. But yeah. Stock plugins are actually pretty good usually. Yeah. It's like learning how to use them is kind of the big thing.
That's 100% what it is. If you know how to use your tool well, then you can make the most out of it. You don't necessarily have to go out and buy the most expensive thing, hardware or the software.
Yeah. Because a lot of people get so plugin obsessed, and it's like, plugins are fun. Yeah. Plugins are great. I do have a lot of plugins. Yeah. But like, learn how to use the tools first. Yeah. Especially if you don't have like a ton of money, which a lot of us don't, you know?
That's basically how a lot of what I do, it stemmed from that being limited in the resources that I had and still have. Yeah. Just, you know, I feel like a lot of people who are musicians or producers growing up in this generation where you can have a laptop and you can get a DAW and like an interface. Yeah. And you can be a bedroom, you know, how they say a bedroom producer. Yeah. And
you do a lot now.
Yeah, you can do a lot. And there's a lot of power in that, because you in your room figuring out what you can do is so fun. Yeah. It's so like figuring out your limits too, and being creative and how to like troubleshoot or problem solve. Like I want it to sound like this studio recording. How can I get there?
Right. Yeah.
With the resources that I have in my room.
And now there's so much information out there on the internet, and like it's cool because it's like before there was more of this gatekeeping system, and you had to like get into a studio to even be able to start to learn that stuff. And now it's like anyone can start to learn the stuff, which is amazing.
I love that concept of like taking your recordings and using it in other studios. But for me, if I can't afford to book a recording studio, well, what do I have at home that I can use as outboard gear? I have an amp. I have a guitar amp.
Well, and even nowadays, like I know it's like outboard gear versus plugins, but like emulations are pretty good.
Yeah.
And you can learn a lot, and you can get really far with that stuff. And like you don't necessarily need to use it. It's fun to use the physical gear.
It is fun.
But you don't nowadays. You don't need to as much as you used to, I think.
Yeah, if you have plugins, if you've already bought plugins, the stock plugins work just as well.
Yeah,
you can do that, and that's a lot of my process. I with the phones, I just use my one compressor that I bought, the CLA2A, or stock compressors, or if I want to get really weird and crunchy about it, I'll use my guitar pedals as outboard gear.
There you go.
I love using them as such on my vocals. I'll have a delay pedal or reverb pedal, and then I run it through my mixer and use it as sends, and I mix it, and I love hearing it. Even though it's like baked into the audio, it just makes it, I don't know, it's just like, it's not added pressure necessarily, but it's just like, okay, there's going to be less processing afterwards.
Yeah.
It's just going to be easier to have it go into, I can go on and on. But anyways.
I actually, I think it's down here somewhere. That's why I have a bunch of guitar pedals, and I don't even play guitar. So, I mean, I have like my electric uke that I mess with, but like, a lot of my pedals I just got to use kind of in that way. And like, this is one of them that I actually got for that purpose, which it's a freeze pedal. So it's like you hit it and it'll freeze the sound, and it does this like, it's so cool. Like just look it up and listen to some sound samples, but it's so much fun. Really I literally got this to like use as an effect for,
I love it.
Not for guitar.
And so, that's the thing.
I love that.
You can use anything for anything. Like, it doesn't have to be intended for a guitar. Yeah. So if I want my phone mic to sound crunchy, or if I don't have a phone mic on me, which is I always do. Yeah. I'll take like a crappy.
You could say crappy. Okay. I think we're safe at this point in the video.
I'll take a secondhand karaoke mic, and I have put it directly into my amp, and my amp has a headphone out. It doesn't have a DI out. Some amps have DI outs. Yeah. I just take the headphone out and I connect it into my interface. Perfect. And that way my voice, it sounds like there's overdrive or the distortion, and my amp has EQ on it. So like there's so many, and that stemmed from this is what I have, and this is how I can use it to.
But sorry, keep going.
Or just this is how I can use my tools to like get to achieve the idea that I have, the sound that I want. Yeah, yeah.
That's what I was thinking about when we were talking about like having like money or resources or whatever. Is even a lot of times people that have a ton of money that are like super successful when they're doing creative work like this, they'll actually force limitations onto themselves to help with like it's like a creative puzzle, right? Yeah. So it's like when you are limited in these ways that you can't control, sometimes it helps you come up with something that's actually more creative and interesting than 100%. If you hadn't been. So I would just keep leaning into that, and
I think that's like
break the rules.
My whole like philosophy, and what I'm realizing, it's starting to be like my personal sound, like what I bring to the table, and whether it's mixing or recording or sound, it's sound design. Yeah, it is. And it's just knowing how to use or like recognizing what I have as tools. Yeah. For mixing or sound designing. It's just using my guitar pedals, using my amp. Yeah. And I collect a bunch of like weird things that I thrift, and like instruments, and I have a toy piano. Oh my god, I use that.
I love toy pianos.
Oh my god, Love it.
I saw one at a flea market a while back, and I still think about it because I didn't buy it. And
You
I'm like, I regret not
do it.
buying it because it sounded so good. It was like this perfect little like tinkly, you know, like it sounded so good. I was like, this is the one that I want. And then I like wrote down the type, but I can't find it on the internet. And I'm like, so I don't know. I don't know what the takeaway is there.
Go on Facebook Marketplace, put an alert.
Find it, yeah.
It'll let you know when somebody is selling it.
I've never done that. I've never put an alert on.
It does get annoying, but if it gets you the exact or
worth
close
it.
to it, 100% worth it.
Yeah.
And just not to go too far into this tangent.
Yeah.
But what I also like doing, I collect the portable reel-to-reel recorders, and it's funny because they're portable, but they're still kind of big.
Yeah.
They're like, it can be like yay big to like yay big.
Is it like the old Tascam ones where it's like an all-in-one thing with a few faders and the...
No, and I want one.
Those are so cool.
I really want one, if anyone knows. But they're so expensive. I really, really, really want one.
Yeah.
But I have like reel-to-reel, like 7-inch or 5-inch types of recorders.
Yeah.
And some of them come with mics.
Yeah.
And some of them I have modded. Others I've kept them as is because it's still working with the recorder. And I love recording the toy piano into the reel-to-reel, and then taking the sound, because some of them do have what do you call it, an aux out, some type of headphone out, and then I put that back into, or put it into Ableton. I love using Ableton.
Yeah.
And it just sounds so good because it's like it warps the audio. There's that warp.
Yeah.
Or like
because
delay.
those little speed differences, right? Like that kind of warp. Yeah. I love that stuff.
And it'll sound like really bright, or it'll be like,
yeah.
It's just so cool. And it's just me getting like just like seeing it perchance at a Goodwill and getting it for $30, and me seeing the value of that and knowing how I can use it.
That's satisfying.
Oh my God, that was a good find, because they can go up to $100 or over 80, 60 on Reverb or Craigslist, those sites. eBay is what I was thinking about, not Craigslist, eBay. Oh my God, forget it. It was expensive. But I just love using the budget that I have, my limited resources, and just using...
It's a puzzle. It's a fun puzzle.
It's so much fun. That was a tangent, but I can...
No, I'm into that.
Go on and on.
I have this... there's like a setting that I use on one of the sound toys. It's like the sound toys effect track. And I'm like this... I'll load it up, and it does like that kind of thing where it makes it sound like it's warping a little. And I'll put it on like keys and stuff all the time, and I'm like, yes, I love this.
I don't know what it is about like piano, like using that on piano or delay. It's just so satisfying.
It's so nice.
And especially with the toy piano, because the one that I have, you could hear like the ding and like the bell kind of like trailing off, and adding delay to that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And
I mean, I always use like way too much delay and reverb. So
oh my God, it's me too.
Same team.
Oh my God, yes. Trying to see. I think I did show all of my mics.
Do we want to talk about some of the recordings you've done?
Yes. I've talked about drums and guitar. These are best used, in my opinion, in my preference, in how I work. I love using it on drums and guitars. There's a song that I released called Broken Things. And that song came from having made my first telephone mic. And I was looking at the telephone mic, and I was determined to make a track out of it.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, how am I going to make a track out of this? And the first thing I recorded was my vocal, and I was going da 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 da. And then the toy piano. And I did record with a phone mic using the piano, but it wasn't the sound. I wanted to hear the toy piano very clearly, so I did end up using my pencil mic.
Okay.
But I still kept
Which mic is that?
It's an AKG one. Ooh, I don't remember. It's on the affordable side. It's not. It's not a good
like an AKG pencil condenser.
Yeah. Very affordable. I do recommend it, but I'm learning the drawbacks to that mic.
Yeah.
But it's just like learning like the frequency response and like how I can apply it and what it's good. I can go on and on.
When you want to use it.
Yeah. But it's what I had. and I made it work. And yeah, I recorded my vocal and the toy piano, and I kept it. And I learned about phone mics being used as blending mics, and that opened up a lot of creative, I don't know, the whole world of creativity to me. So I used that in my song, and then.
So when you say blending mics, what is it like? You're adding the phone mic in addition to another mic,
Yes.
and then okay, cool.
Yeah, and I think what first sparked that idea is at the same time I was interning at Rarefied Recording, and I showed Roy, the chief engineer, the first telephone mic that I made, and I could send you a picture later too of what the phone looked like and what it looked like in use.
Yeah,
because the way I did it is that it was the same like 1/4 inch coiled cable from the phone. I'll probably just use it to show.
Demonstrate.
Yeah. So it was the coiled 1/4 inch coming out of the phone, and I wanted it to be a part of the receiver, but it was just the look of it. The receiver had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
And it was like this whole receiver with the buttons, and I had the cable going in there, and then I attached a 1/4 inch it was a XLR connector. So I had the 1/4 inch cable going into the receiver, connecting into the XLR connector. And so it was, the whole thing was attached. But I found a limitation to it because it's just like, well, now I got to bring the thing, and it was just made for a look. 'Cause in my head, I was just thinking it's going to sit on my desk.
Yeah.
It's not going to be used.
Oh,
like,
now you're bringing it somewhere. And it's
yeah,
like a big.
but I was so excited, and I wanted to show Roy, and like, look what I made.
Yeah.
And I brought it, and then he had
That's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a vocal that day, and he actually used it in the session.
So cool.
And I'll show you the picture. He did he use the DI? I do not even remember. Oh no, because I used an XLR connector, so that made it easier. We just used an XLR and connected it into the bay. Yeah, and then that's when I learned about blending mic, using it as a blending mic. And I think he had, was it a 47 or an 87? I always get those mixed up. It's one of those. He has both those mics.
Yeah.
One of those mics, and that was like done in this miking. So it was like this, and then the phone mic was right underneath it, and I'll show you in the picture, and like the contrast between that was so funny but awesome at the same time, because you have like this really expensive vintage mic, like
super
well-known quality studio. Like when you think of studio, that's the mic that you see in a studio.
That's like the vocal condenser look. Yeah.
And then you got a spray painted DIY mic that I got from school at the time. And it didn't sound great.
Yeah.
He had to gain it up, and he put the trim all the way up on the Neve console. But, blended together, it sounded really cool.
It's like that little bit of spice on there.
Yeah, and I was just so happy that
cool.
the client like let us do that, and that Roy even did that, and
and they used it in the final mix.
I don't know. I haven't actually asked.
I bet
about
they did. I'm gonna think they did.
I should ask, because then I want to hear it.
Yeah.
But just having that, I was so grateful for that experience, because then I realized, oh, you can use it as a blending mic.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. Funny enough, for that track, Broken Things, and I titled it Broken Things because it's the concept of taking broken things or breaking those things, or things that you think they have no purpose anymore.
Right.
Like those telephones are just being thrown away and discarded.
Yeah.
Because they don't work.
It's like
they have no
toys.
Yeah. And then but I have use for them. I can. So that was the whole like concept with that. And in that song too, I talk about phones.
Yeah.
Because I was like, how am I going to make a song out of this? What's the inspiration? And it was like, I'm waiting for the phone. Oh, I'm singing it not well. Like, I'm waiting for the phone to ring. And so I talk about that. And then my vocals in the outro too, they're on the phone. She's like, I'm waiting for the phone. And it sounds like it's coming through the phone, because it is.
Yeah.
So I'm really proud of that song.
I like that song. I remember that one.
Oh, thank you. Wait, did you master it?
I don't remember. I know I heard it though.
You didn't master it.
It might have been one of the other ones, because I remember you sent a bunch over to me,
yeah,
and I was mastering like one or two of
I gave
them.
you strings to master.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah. But I heard the other one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of that one.
Yeah.
And I recorded drums at Rarefied in Roy's studio. And it gets even funnier because I brought my phone mic and I used it. I've seen people on social media do this miking technique where they put it in between the kick drum and underneath like the tom.
Oh yeah.
There's a name for it. I don't
Crotch
remember.
mic.
Yeah.
Yeah, these would be great for a crotch mic.
Yeah, and I stuck it in there.
And then you like compress it like
yeah,
super.
Yeah. I used his compressors for sure. I don't remember which one it was. It was probably wasn't the EL8 one that you have. I don't remember. One of his many compressors I definitely used on the phone. I don't know, maybe I can show you a snippet of just those drums isolated. Because to hear, there is a difference. When I muted that phone mic in the drum recording, it took away all the crunchy brightness.
Yeah.
And I was just so like blown away by it because it did make a difference and it did add color to it. And it was color that I did want.
Yeah.
And I like.
I love that stuff. That's also why I'll take overheads and like over compress them sometimes too to get more of that like the texture and the I love that stuff. I
think I was also like really shocked at how good it sounded because of where I placed it because I've never done that miking technique before. And the fact that it was really bright.
Yeah.
And
it's so simple. Yeah. And it's so much fun.
Because in my head I was like, well, it's like it's like in between the kick drum and underneath the toms. Like, oh, it's going to capture like
too much.
Like it's not going to capture. But I'm like, wait, it is facing up.
Yeah.
It is hearing the cymbals and the snare and yeah, I'll definitely show you, like, I'll send you, like, a snippet.
Cool. Yeah, we can put it in the video.
Yeah, because I love that. But it gets funnier because when I took it home, I used all of Roy's outboard gear to only then take that audio and run it through my guitar amp. And, like, further distort the audio.
Nice.
So I was just, like, I'm, like, using, like, studio quality gear just to then go home and run all of that into my guitar amp.
I've done that, though. Like, what was it? Recently, I was working on a song with someone, and we recorded the vocals with a U87, I think, or the 67, I forget. But then we ended up. It was like we were working on their parts of the song, and like a few sessions later, we're like, let's just filter it. Let's super filter it. Let's add a bunch of saturation and distortion, and like now it sounds like it's coming out of an amp almost. You know what I mean? It's got like that radio type of, and it's like that started out as like a really clean.
Yeah,
that's like so pristine, funny, but like that's how we like it, so that's how it's gonna be.
And I do like using the stock saturator plugin in Ableton. I love using that on my vocal too. Yeah, and that's what I was doing before I had the idea to actually use my amp in real time or to like gain it up really high on the preamp to get that sound.
That's so much fun.
Yeah, so I used it on that song that's actually released, Broken Things.
Yes.
We'll
link to it.
Yeah, and I'm working on a lot of music right now where it's just my whole goal for one song is like I just want phone mics on everything.
Yeah.
Like literally everything. And there's so many recordings that I have and it's with just guitar and it sounds so good.
Yeah.
With guitar. And it's also really good to use it as a blending mic because you get the like if you want the dark like kind of like low mid end from a condenser, pairing it with the high distorted crunchiness of the mic.
Yeah.
It blends so well together. And I love using it that way for guitars. Do
you do any like special EQing or anything to those to make them blend?
Sometimes with the phone mic, I have to just I always get low cut and high cut mixed up.
Low cut, you're removing the lows, and then high cut, you're removing the highs.
I do a high cut,
and then there's like high pass, which is the same as a low cut.
That's the one. High pass. That's one because it's the opposite.
Yeah.
I low pass.
Low pass would be just the low frequencies remain.
No. Yeah, I low pass it.
Yeah.
Because
on the condenser.
On the telephone mic.
Okay.
Because there is that like
it's a little too harsh.
Like hissing or like this noise that's in the phone, or I don't know what it is about phone mics that just make it so noisy.
Yeah.
But it does help though when I'm mixing it with everyone else, because even though that is the intended goal, that is what I want to hear, it's still going to be lo-fi. Sounding. I'm not taking away from the phone, but there is just those annoying frequencies that I just want to take away.
So is it kind of like a high frequency that you're starting the cut on?
Yeah, I don't know which one specifically. They all kind of like range in how annoyingly noisy they are.
So like depends on the mic.
Yeah, but it's definitely I like low pass it. And then for the condenser, I think I just emphasize whatever the harmonic is. Just, there could be other ways, and there have been people that told me, well, why are you using a phone mic where you can just do that with an EQ already and just, you know, take both of those frequencies off? And then
Yeah,
you
that's
can.
different. It sounds smoother.
It's a whole other feeling of
Yeah.
like, it's so fulfilling to make something
Yeah.
and then use it
Yeah.
in real time and then get that sound. It's just a different experience, but you definitely can EQ it if you want the sound of a phone in your music, and you can't find a phone, or you don't have soldering equipment. You don't have that at your, you know, disposal to make it.
I think there are also some, this is kind of for anyone wondering though, I think some libraries now have like maker spaces where you can go in, and sometimes they'll have like 3D printers, and they'll have like soldering equipment, and it's like stuff for people to make things with. So
that's true.
If anyone's wondering, I would check out your local library, especially if you're in a big city. I think it's more likely to have something like that. But
I know for sure
I think that's a thing.
On campus at a university or college campus, the libraries do have 3D printing. I have seen that.
That's so cool.
So that, if you're a student and you're going to college, or if you're high school student or whatever school you are and they have those resources, take advantage of that.
That's valuable.
Yeah.
I don't think 3D printing was even like a thing when I was in college. That's so wild.
In middle school, for me, it was becoming like well known, and I forgot what program.
More accessible at least.
Yeah,
right?
I think this was like a 7th period or something after school. I think it was a robotics club,
Cool.
and they were learning how to use a 3D printer, and somebody asked me what I wanted printed, and I said a heart, but like a human heart. And they printed out an atomical heart.
Correct.
Yeah, and it's
so
like
cool.
this big, and I love it. I still have it to this day.
That's so cool.
It's just so cool, and it's red too, and I'm like,
perfect.
It's my one thing that I have 3D printed.
So, tell me about this drum recording that you were talking about.
So I had this idea to just record a drum kit using only telephone mics, and I made a video about it, and I posted it on Instagram, and people loved it. But basically I used, I forgot how many mics: overhead, snare, kick in, kick out. I think I used 5 telephones.
Okay.
And I mic'd the snare.
And nothing but telephones.
Cool. And just the preamps and the interface. I did this at school. And it was super fun. I even measured too for the overhead. I was like super technical about it, but I was just like, really? like it's a telephone mic recording, and
it still matters.
Yeah, I was just being super to the T technical.
Yeah.
So I did 2 overheads and kick in. Kick in was so tricky though. I could hear it rattling in the recording.
Oh really?
Because of like
it's like a loose piece in there.
Yeah, because it looked like this. It was a similar phone, and I just like suck it in there, so it wasn't on a stand.
Oh
yeah, so it was
like actual drum like conduction interference. Yeah, that's wild.
But it was still fun to hear, and I'm really proud of those recordings. I'll definitely send them to you so you we hear it. But I love those recordings. It's super crunchy, super lo-fi. And I don't know, maybe one day there'll be samples available, but for now they're mine.
Yeah.
And
that's so cool.
Use it how I want to use it. But
that's cool.
That was the drum recording.
I can't wait to hear that. I feel like there's probably some similarities between that and like, back in the tape days when they had to record, they would like record all the drum stuff, and then they would bounce the drum to like one tape track, and then they would like add more to it, and then bounce that to one, and then add more. And so by the end, the drums had been bounced multiple times on multiple tapes. Anyway, so then like the drums would be super
Mhm.
oversaturated, and it would have that like tape compression to it a little bit, you know. And I'm not articulating it super well, but I feel like that has become a sound that people love, and it was one of those things, like a lot of things in mixing, where it's like it's just the history of the technology that caused this to be a sound. It was a limitation of the technology at the time.
Back to the limitations.
Yeah, but now it's like a thing that people love because it's like maybe it's nostalgia for that music, or maybe it's like actually something that we inherently like, but like now it's a thing that people like. I purposely do that with drums a lot. Like I will purposely run it through multiple tape emulations in Pro Tools to give that kind of a sound. And I feel like you doing the phone mic thing, maybe it has like a similar feel to it.
Yeah.
I'll have to hear it.
And it's funny because
that's why I'm excited about it.
Yeah, and there's plugins that are doing that emulation now.
Yeah.
I see plugins that are being sold for to give you the phone sound or tape.
Yeah. Have you seen the fan one? There's a plugin.
I love seeing that.
Yeah.
Didn't we all
like
did
tremolo,
that?
Right?
Yeah.
But like, yeah. Oh, I definitely
so
do that. And you do the like get the vocal fry and then throw it into the fan and hear it come back at you. I loved that.
Oh, speaking of, I forgot to bring it. I used a rotary dial to give that stutter effect. I'm
cool.
so disappointed. I totally forgot. I should have left it in front of by the door.
Can you send me a video?
Yes.
And I'll like cut it into this.
Yeah, and I'll take it apart too so you can see, because I don't remember because it was trial and error.
Yeah.
I looked up videos on how to do it, but it wasn't as like step by step, and the guy didn't really show like the inside of the thing, and he didn't really explain it. But that's what it is. It's troubleshooting on your own, and like
that's a lot of engineering stuff.
Figuring out like what goes where, and if it sounds what it's a lot of figuring it out.
Yeah, you gotta have the tinkering spirit.
Oh yes, and the patience and the determination.
Yeah,
but I did it, and I added two what do you call it? So a connector going in, so I can pass audio in and then audio out, and then using the rotary dial, and it's so cool. I use it on my vocals, and it always happens where I make something and I want to like make a song and end up making like a whole thing out of it. It doesn't always happen, but there is like this song that I'm working on that just came from the rotary dial. But I could definitely show you what that looks like. Cool. And
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. But
that's so cool.
Yeah, it's like the fan plug-in. That's where it got me thinking.
It's so silly, but I'm like, it's such a great idea. So much fun.
Now I want to record myself going through the fan.
You're gonna be buying fans at the thrift store next.
I know.
You have a collection of fans, and they take up so much more space.
The collection in my. I have too much things, but I love it.
Yeah,
I love them.
It's the struggle.
If you ever want to use one of my reel-to-reel recorders,
yes,
and make your mixing,
that'd be so much fun.
It is. I love it. It is fun.
That'd be cool. That'd be so cool. Thank you.
I have so many tape recorders. So I have the little micro cassette recorder.
Oh, awesome.
And then I have like the normal cassette recorder. And then I have the reel to reel recorder. So whichever.
Sweet.
I can offer you one and you can use it in mixing.
Have you seen the guitar pedals where it's like a bunch of tape heads? Was it like the TRex audio or something? I think I'll find the link and put it in. But it's like the pedal has it's like there are a few of them, but the one I'm thinking about has like circular, and then it has a bunch of tape heads, and it just spins, and it's sending your audio through the tape head and then coming back out the pedal. It's a guitar pedal. Yeah,
like an actual physical pedal.
Yeah.
I want to see this pedal.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I'll show you right after this, and I'll put a link in the description.
Oh, I'm intrigued.
But I think the same company, they have a few other ones where it's like stuff like that, where it's actually it's a pedal, but it's just running it through literal tape or through tape heads or like whatever.
So cool.
Yeah, it's cool. But yeah,
I'm gonna look that up right away.
Yeah. But I probably shouldn't keep you too long. So By the way, I introduced you as Lori, but it's also Loretto.
Oh,
Which do
yeah.
you prefer for people?
It's funny. I'm so bad about this because my artist name is actually my full name, but I've been Lori my whole life.
Okay, so that's okay that I
yeah,
led
that's
with
fine.
Lori.
Loretto. Loretto is my full birth name, but it's also my artist name. But yes,
Cool.
I am Loretto on everything else.
Yeah.
But in person, I'm Lori.
Cool. Cool. Do you want to do like any shout outs for like your Instagram or any websites or anywhere people can find you?
I don't know if this is too much to do right now.
It's probably not.
But should I do the outro on a phone mic?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to do our sign off. So where can people find you?
I'm really bad about being on all the social media platforms, but I'm mainly on Instagram at Loretto KL. I do have a YouTube channel, but there's like barely any videos on there. It's just like music. So yeah, YouTube, Instagram, pretty much it. I should be everywhere else. But...
And it's all the Loretto KL?
Yeah, Loretto KL or Loretto Lopez. Yeah, I have Spotify, but there's like barely anything on there.
I'm going to link to it. I'm going to link to it down below. I'll link to all of it down below.
Yay.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for coming. Thanks for hanging out.
Thank you for having me.
And I guess I'll do my little sign off. So thanks everyone for hanging out. I come out with new videos every Wednesday. If you haven't yet, please feel free to check out my Patreon. It's patreon.com/CatoNoise. And we have a Discord server that we're hanging out on. We have a book club that we're doing. Lots of fun stuff. There's some early release videos. And other than that, I guess thanks for hanging out.
Cool.
Bye. This is fun. I can't wait to hear this. Okay. And then we'll let's do it. Let's do it.
These I find are the most
wait, hold on.
It's
messy.
It's okay.
I gotta clean it. It's like bad. It's like I touched it with my greasy paws.
I do that with my phone too.